Hey, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. Now, I noticed you guys have been liking it when I've been covering LIA live on his live streams and the burnout he's getting from his fans. Well, last night he did a live and he announced during that live that he may be running for office. So, we are going to actually take a look at that live. I'm going to critique it. We're going to go over some of the stuff, the stuff him getting mad at his viewers who are unsubscribing, who disagree with him. And then we're going to take a look at, is he actually eligible to run for a political office? I want to welcome some people who are here. Michael Wyatt, it's good to see you, buddy. BJ, I can't pronounce the rest of it, so I'm just going to call you that. It's good to see you. Hunter NY1, good to see you. Dave, good to see you. Everyone who's lurking, I'm going to get this pulled up. Navy, Texas. Well, Navy Tech, good to see you. So let's get this going here. So
Benjamin Franklin once said, "Those who would give up their essential liberty to purchase temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Hey, what's up, guys? Long Island Audit here, back again with another video. I'm very excited to do this video because I guess I'm controversial now. I guess I'm a traitor. To what? I'm not sure. I guess I'm a liberal lunatic, but we'll get into that in a second. I will always, my principles are not for sale. I will always be on the side of the United States Constitution and the American people, we the people. And for those of you who don't understand that, that's fine. You don't have to, but I would invite you to hear me out a little bit. I apologize. I'm going to speak really loud because apparently somebody is practicing the trumpet in an office here next to mine. So,
is that the office you generated with Grunk AI? Because I could see the little, like, if you look right here at the corner, you can see where there's the Grunk symbol. But that's here or near there. So now the first part of this, we're really going to pay a lot of attention to. We will address it, but the main thing is when he talks about his fans leaving or disagreeing with him and him running for office. So we're going to see how this plays out. Now let me turn this back up.
Hopefully that doesn't get too loud, but I want to get into this video really quick. And by the way, unlike some people, I do read all the comments and I respond to a lot of comments. If you see that on my community tab posts or my Instagram, stuff like that, I do try and engage with my audience and my subscribers and my supporters, so you guys can see where I'm coming from. A lot of people don't do that. I do that because I want to connect with you guys and have you guys understand my point of view. I'm not perfect. I'm not a lawyer.
You say that again.
I don't know everything what I'm talking about, but I like to educate myself. I like to.
Now he's admitting he doesn't know what he's always talking about. And some of the stuff he says, well, I am not surprised that he has blocked comments. Now, I will admit that YouTube does block comments at times. It's not a lot of us content creators that do that. Like, I have had it happen to some of my viewers. They've sent me what they wrote, and it's just gone. YouTube is fickle about that. I don't know why, but I wouldn't be surprised if you disagreed with him and he's blocked your comments.
Educate myself on a daily basis, and I hope that you guys can appreciate that. And I try and be a critical thinker. I don't have any allegiance to a Democratic Party or the Republican Party. Again, my only allegiance is to the United States Constitution, the supreme law of the land of the United States. So that being said, I want to show you guys a couple things later in the video, and maybe I have an announcement. Maybe I'll be running for political office. I don't know. Stick around to the end. But
now he said that before, and I'll talk about that later on. But let's get a little poll here. Who thinks, put a 1 in the chat, that he could actually win a congressional seat or any even form of office? Let's just make it simpler. If you think he could win a political office, put a 1 in the chat. If not, put a 2.
let's take a look at this really quick. So let's see here, share screen, entire screen right here. All right, so just to give you guys some background on what's exactly going on here. So this Juan, what I talked about, 96 court orders in the title of the video being violated. So first things first, I've already seen the comments. This is a DEI judge. Be a critical thinker. A DEI judge, liberal activist judge. So I've already anticipated those sort of remarks. And I wanted to show you guys, this is the judge we're talking about. He's the chief judge of a federal district court in Minnesota. And this is him, Patrick Schultz. Patrick Schultz was appointed by George W. Bush. So with all this information, and this is what he looks like here. So if you believe that somebody who looks like this and was appointed by George W. Bush is a liberal activist judge and a DEI judge, that's up to you. You can make your own conclusions based on that information. I don't, again, not taking sides, don't care. This is just an interesting case that I saw, that 96 court orders in the month of January, but we'll get into it. So what happened in this case very shortly is Juan, as you can see here, filed a federal lawsuit, because he filed a habeas petition. So he was detained by ICE and he filed a habeas petition, and the Judge Schultz here, the chief judge of this district, granted his petition because he wasn't given a bond hearing as required by federal law. So,
okay, now I'm going to address this. If they did not give him his bond like he was required, then yes, he needs to file a petition, a habeas petition. He needs to file it in court like he's doing. He doesn't need to go and start harassing people or picking up a camera and running around auditing people like some people do. I'm not going to say no names, but sorry, that's stuck in my throat there. But yeah, that's serious. That's something that needs to be addressed, and we can all agree that if they are violating people's rights, they need to be handled in court. Take them to court, file your lawsuits, get justice that way.
The court goes on to say, so he grants him his habeas petition and says, okay, you have to give him a bond hearing because that's what's required by federal law. He is just telling them what they have to do, what ICE has to do according to federal law. ICE just decides not to answer this order whatsoever. And just to be clear, I saw some comments. I'm going to go off the cuff a little bit here, but I saw some comments saying, Sean, federal court orders are not law, Sean. You should know that better than anybody. And let me make this very clear, my position on this. My default setting towards the government is one of distrust and skepticism. That's just me.
Okay. But you want to run for office. So you would become the thing you hate. That, to me, is pure irony. You distrust the government so much that you're going to become the thing you hate. Who else finds that ironic as hell? Because I just think that's fucking hilarious.
American citizen, despite what some people might believe, my default setting, and I think that's how everybody's default setting should be. It doesn't have to be, but my default setting is one of distrust and skepticism towards the government.
Hey, Sentry.
We
hey,
have a
Sister.
judicial branch, an executive branch, and a legislative branch. So I don't always agree with court orders, and I'm actually under a court order right now that I believe violates my First Amendment right to share depositions with you guys, video depositions of public servants.
Okay, now that is from what I believe. It's from the Fahey situation when he sued him, and I know for a fact that he's done this before where the judge has told him, yeah, you can't put out the depositions because you're causing undue harassment to the individuals. Hey, David E. Person. Hey, Parson. But yeah, I mean, we know about that, Sean. And let's not forget, next week, Sean has, I believe it's next week, he has a court hearing for the Fahey situation from last July. And again, he turned down that sweetheart deal he was offered, but it's LIA. He likes to waste people's time.
I'm under that court order, but I am not breaking or violating that court order. Why? And why wouldn't you violate a court order? You wouldn't either, right? Because you can be sanctioned and lose tens of thousands of dollars of your money and or be put in a jail cell and lose your freedom. So to me, again, this is my opinion. I don't like it when I can't violate a court order without accountability and consequences, whether I agree with that order or not. There is a mechanism, right? You can appeal the court order to a higher court all the way up to the Supreme Court if they decide to listen to it. So for me, I don't like it when our government, whether it's ICE or any other agency, so again, this has nothing to do with immigration or ICE. This is just has to do with it because this is what we're talking about now. But I don't like it when any government agency or any government agency can violate court orders, 96 of them, and not face any consequences when you or I would face consequences.
Well, they are going to be facing consequences. That's why they went and had this motion filed.
Hearing as required by law. And ICE apparently ignored this judge, and the judge says the court has been extremely patient with the respondents, ICE.
Okay, so they've ignored, they ignored the court orders. So now they're going to be facing punishment from the judge, which means they could have to pay out to that individual. They could have to drop the charges. They would have to probably make a formal apology. They would probably be placed under more scrutiny. They would have to be doing things more in a timely fashion. They would have probably more oversight, which is what people want. Okay. So what's the deal? I mean, they're getting reprimanded. They're being taken to court. What more do you want, Sean? Do you want them to be thrown in jail? Do you want them to have to individually have to pay the fines like you would if you violated the court order that you're under?
The respondents decided to send thousands, I believe they sent 33,000 ICE agents to Minnesota to detain illegals without making provisions for dealing with hundreds of habeas petitions and other lawsuits that were sure to result. Respondents have continually assured the court that they recognize their obligation to comply with court orders and that they have taken steps to ensure that those orders will be honored going forward. Unfortunately, the violations continue. The court's patience is at an end. Accordingly, the court will order Tom Lyons, the acting director of ICE, to appear personally before the court and show cause why he should not be held in contempt of court.
Okay,
the court
then they're punishing him.
Head of a federal agency is
That's what
to personally appear is an extraordinary step, but to the extent that ICE's violation of court orders is likewise extraordinary, and lesser measures have been tried and failed. So he entered an order based on the foregoing and on the filed records and proceedings herein. It is ordered that the court will hold a hearing on January 30th, 2026, before Chief Judge Patrick Schiltz. Respondent Tom Lyons, the director of ICE, must appear in person to show cause why he should not be held in contempt for violating the court's January 14th order. Petitioner's counsel may participate in the hearing, but his attendance is not required. If before the hearing, the parties file a stipulation indicating that the petitioner has been released from custody, Juan, the petitioner, has been released from custody, the court will cancel the hearing and will not require Lyons to appear. So that's where we were at, right? So then another order takes place. And so what the government does, ICE does, is they get this order and they're like, oh, well, we don't want the ICE director to appear before this court to show cause. So they let Juan go, right? They let him go. They release him. And the judge is like, okay, well, that's all fine and well. And he issues an order. He cancels the hearing as he promised. He cancels the hearing. And he says, that does not end the court's concern, however. Attached to this order is an appendix that identifies 96 court orders that ICE has violated in 74 cases. The extent of ICE's noncompliance is almost certainly substantially understated. This list is combined to order.
Okay, so the judge has ordered that the director of ICE must appear and explain himself. Okay. That's him being punished for violating the court orders. That's what you want. You want them to be held accountable. They're being held accountable in a court of law. What more do you want from them? Do you want them to throw him in jail? Do you want them to have to pay? Because it sounds like the judge is trying to hold them accountable. He's trying to show them, hey, you guys can't fuck around. You need to answer for this. If you're violating people's rights, you need to be held accountable. You need to explain why you didn't do it, and you better have a good reason.
Issued since January 1st, 2026. 96 court orders in the month of January. I mean, I thought we were supposed to be, when you call me the traitor, I want the government to be held accountable, checks.
But they are being held accountable.
That's in the Constitution, right? Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. Article 1 is the executive, Article 2 is the legislative, and Article 3 is the judicial branch. I think you're inserting your own politics into what my mission is about. Go read my about section, right? It doesn't mention, Republican or Democrat or any sort of politics. It mentions standing up and standing firm for the Constitution of the United States and for the people of America and our country, and the laws. And the supreme law of the land is what? The Constitution of the United States, right? Anyway, this list is confined to orders only in since January 1st, 2026.
Come on, you can get it out there, Shawnee.
By extraordinary busy judges. Undoubtedly, mistakes were made, and orders that should have appeared on this list were omitted. This is very important here. This list should give pause to anyone, no matter his or her political beliefs, who care about the rule of law. ICE has likely violated more court orders in January of 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence.
Okay. And again, for the third time, the persons whose rights were violated has done everything they're supposed to do. They're taking it to court. They are getting the judge to punish them and to get them to answer for this. The judge said if they don't show up and answer for this, and this is the director of ICE, that they would be held in contempt. They need to show cause why they didn't follow those orders. They are being held accountable. This is what Sean doesn't understand. That the judge has ordered that the director has to show up and explain to the court with a damn good reason why they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And if they don't, they could be found in contempt. They could be found to have to make reparations, or when I say reparations, I don't mean just reparations. I mean like making payment to that individual, apologize to that individual, be held more accountable, maybe have an overseer, maybe have the courts go through a lot more of this. That's how the justice system works.
ICE has likely violated more court orders in the month of January 2026 than some federal agencies have violated in their entire existence. The court warns ICE that future noncompliance with court orders may result in future show cause orders requiring the personal appearances of lions or other government officials. ICE is not a law unto itself. ICE
okay, so they're going to hold them accountable.
But like any litigant, like me or you want the government, you want a government agency, really? Because you want illegal immigrants out of this country. And guess what? That's not my argument. You want illegal immigrants out of the country? I believe in the rule of law. If they need to be deported because they are here illegally, they should be deported. Full stop. If you're here unlawfully in the country, you should be deported. But that deportation should be done lawfully and constitutionally. That's my opinion. That's my stance on it. And again, that's not a political stance, no matter how much you want it to be.
But you'll make it your political stance. I know you.
Orders if they want, but ICE must follow the orders unless and until they are overturned or vacated. Juan asked the court to schedule a hearing on which he may be presented evidence and argument concerning the hardships that he has suffered. Okay. Based on the foregoing, he canceled the hearing. This is this judge right here. Again, I've already seen the comments and he's a DEI liberal activist judge. That's Patrick Schultz right here, appointed by George Bush. Just to give you context. So now I've been getting a lot a lot of criticism when I started speaking out against the unlawfulness of ICE and the accountability.
You mean you've been
I,
using that to try to
that
gain
I
more
want for a
following,
government
to
agency,
get more
which
money
is
from your
kind of weird to me. But
subscribers, and
you know, I want to show you guys, for those of you who do support what I'm talking about and do support me and do support the rule of law and the supreme law of our land is the Constitution.
okay, now he's going to show some videos. There's going to be no audio for those videos because he's doing it on Instagram. I don't know if it's feeding into his earbuds, but nobody can hear it. But this whole thing with ICE and the whole thing in Minneapolis this past weekend, clearly it was just him. It was just him trying to use that as a stepping stone to get more people to watch his channel, to make comments, to make donations. I mean, he's been burning out with his followers who've been disagreeing with him, and then his comments to them have been affecting his GoFundMe. If you follow Really Cool News, it's ran by Jim Finch, really great channel. He puts out news articles evolving the auditing world. He follows the GoFundMes, and he hasn't been doing too well with those GoFundMes.
I want to show you guys, this is why I'm very worried for our country. Because like I opened with the Benjamin Franklin quote, those who would give away their essential liberty to purchase temporary safety, if you're willing to give away, and you'll see these comments in a second. This is my Instagram here. I want to show you some comments. If you're willing to give away, listen to me, my fellow Americans. If you're willing to give away your Constitution, allow your Constitution to be violated because of illegal immigration, you're no different. You're a bootlicker. You're no different than people who gave away their rights for terrorism under the Patriot Act.
Okay,
I mean, it's no different.
The Patriot Act was signed at a moment
sure, but
of like one of the worst times for U.S. history.
Safety. That's not how this was supposed to work. Okay, it's just
not a lot of people read it who signed it.
I want to show you guys,
and yeah, it was detrimental to the freedoms that we have, but we addressed it and we fixed it.
Instagram. This is a video of an ICE officer. Someone's recording an ICE officer, an ICE agent, and she's recording them. And she says it's not illegal to record. You'll see the video right now. Hold on.
No audio from the video. Again, we don't know if it's feeding into his earbuds, but nobody heard it. I watched this live stream twice already. Hey, Lisa.
Okay. So they have a database, and because this woman was filming them, which is what I do, which is what you support me doing, you filming law enforcement, right? ICE is no different than local police. It's our First Amendment right, our constitutional right to film law enforcement. Because this woman was filming law enforcement, apparently she's going and being put in a database to be a domestic terrorist.
Okay, there's a difference between interfering with them doing an investigation and just filming. We don't know what happened because we're not getting full context of what that video shows. All we're seeing is that segment. We don't know what led up to that interaction with that agent and the individual recording. We don't know what was said prior. Now, I saw a video this morning of people who were interacting with ICE agents, one of the agents being an African American, and one of those people using a racial slur with a hard R at the end. Yeah, the word that can get you kicked off a platform real quick. So we don't know what was said. We don't know what was leading up to that. You know, we have over 100 people watching. This is that's amazing. I've never had that many people watch one of my streams. Thank you for doing so. Thank you for joining me. Everybody's welcome here. Just remember my rules. No threatening violence, no trying to dox people, no racism, no homophobic slurs, and you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to put your opinions in the side chat.
Should concern every single American. And if you look at the comment section, I know you guys can't see that. Let me make it bigger. If you look at the comments, I feel betrayed. You know, you guys want to say that I'm
Oh,
betraying,
they hurt your
whatever.
feelings
I don't know
because
what
they
you
didn't
thought I
agree with
was. I
you?
don't know what you thought my loyalty was to, but it's not to the president and it's not to a political party. I'll tell you that right now. It would, so I wrote some things. The moment, well, this is what I wrote: the moment the government treats transparency as terrorism is the moment the Constitution becomes essential. I will always exercise my rights and resist tyranny. So this person says, when you're interfering with an investigation, it's different. You're gonna go follow around a cop that's doing an investigation? Question mark. I don't think so. Let the alone leave the federal agent alone. Rethink this one, maybe. I do love your content from back in the day too. Um, I've followed law enforcement officers before. I have filmed them during investigations, traffic stops,
And you got
crime
arrested
scenes.
doing that
I've
before
done all
too.
that before. I don't know where this is backlash is coming. I'm not the one that switched up. You are.
Okay, that person just viewed their opinion, and he's calling that backlash. You know, backlash would be if I came out against auditors and then out of the blue, I started saying every one of them were good. They've never done anything wrong. I would expect people to come at me and say, hey, why are you saying that? Why are you doing that? That would be backlash. You know, leaving my channel because I changed my opinion and was just trying to do it for clicks and views and not being accountable for what I put out there and not being accountable for my statements. And then, you know, me losing my sponsorships or me, you know, losing followers, that would be backlash. But because this person does not agree with you, does not mean it's backlash. That person is criticizing what you put out there. That's their right. That's their freedom of expression. That's part of the First Amendment that you are a champion for, something you say you fight for. I mean, what can you do about that?
I mean, and I don't know why you did. Being on the side of the Constitution is the right side to be on. I loved, look at this one. I loved your content up until now, but you're way off on this one. Way off, right? Way off on American citizens being put in domestic terrorist databases for recording them. Way off, right? Weird how Long Island Audit won't post the context of what happened before the video started. What context should the government be putting? What context would make it good for the acceptable for the government to be calling an American citizen a domestic terrorist? Again, I'm not the one switching up here. You guys are the ones switching up. Then some people actually support. I support America and support ICE. You can do that. You can support ICE. You're not understanding. It's okay. Again, my default setting is to distrust government agencies and to be skeptical. That's just my default setting because I believe that should be the default setting of any Constitution-loving American patriot. That's just my opinion. But you can support ICE. But do you support people being put in a domestic terrorist database? No.
Well, that
I mean, you
depends on
shouldn't.
what
I mean,
they're
if you
doing.
do,
If they are
you are
actually
disrespectful
causing
traitor to our
harm
country and to our
to the
people.
community, if they are actually trying to
It's crazy.
harm
Look
the
at guy, he's a
agents,
masked. I don't know
then
what he
yeah,
is.
maybe
It's
they
crazy,
should
but
be looked
that was
at.
just one example. Now let me show you another one. So here's another example.
Again, where's the context with these videos that he's putting out there? All we're getting are the segments that he's wanting us to see, which I find highly sus because where is the transparency? Why couldn't you find the full video and show us what led up to that stuff?
If you raise your voice, this is an ICE agent. If you raise your voice, I will erase your voice. And the irony of him saying it in such a thick Hispanic accent.
What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to, what does race have to do with that?
Exactly what he's saying, because you can't even understand this ICE agent. I mean, where's the standards for ICE agents and they can't even speak English?
Okay. Well, the standards to become a law enforcement officer or an ICE agent or any kind of agent for law enforcement, you have to be a U.S. citizen. He might be a first generation immigrant to this country. Does that mean he doesn't get the right to serve his community? Does that mean he can't, you know, be a cop or work for a governmental agency? Why does he have to bring in race on this? I mean, yeah, the guy has a thick accent from what we've been told, but that doesn't mean nothing. That why bring that whole thing up unless you're trying to incite that specific narrative of race being involved in it?
Properly. Ridiculous. The irony is unbelievable. If you raise your voice, I will erase your voice. And I wrote, if you want to check out my Instagram, I wrote a whole long, post to this too. Let's see. Let's see.
The most sense he's ever made,
Short
right
post
there.
of good looking. Should have yelled. Let's see. I'm gonna use that line. Some people were saying, "What is the context?" Let's see.
Yes, that's important.
And I know there'll be people in this video like, "What's the context?" Like, easy fix. Look, big kahuna right here. Easy fix. Stop agitating and getting in the way of federal agents trying to do their job. Crazy how you people will try and defend and physically engage with officers in the name of protecting illegals, criminal illegals. Who is protecting criminal illegals in this video? I don't understand. That is somebody exercising their First Amendment right to film law enforcement. And if they want to raise their voice, they have every constitutional right to raise their voice. The First Amendment, the Bill of Rights, they have every right to raise their voice if they so choose. And this officer says, this ICE agent says, I will erase your voice. Is that the American? That's you support that? I mean, this shouldn't be controversial. He says that with a thick accent. Again, I think that's very ironic.
Why do you need to keep bringing race into this?
Then what's another thing?
Why do you keep
another one I posted?
bringing up that man's accent?
Let's go to this one. I said, if federal officers can enter homes, this is when this first broke. If federal, let me make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see it good. Again, this is me being the traitor, me being called a traitor. But Sean, Biden let in 20 million illegal immigrants, 30 million, 40. I've seen 40, 50 million. I have no idea how many it was. I don't care. Let me tell you this really quick. I don't care how many, and every research I've done is that it's not 20 or 30 or 40 million, but it doesn't matter the number. What don't you understand? I will not give up my constitutional rights because of illegal immigration. Terrorism, COVID, nothing, a pandemic. No, not going to happen.
Okay. Nobody's saying that you need to give up your rights for those things. But are you comfortable with letting those things run unchecked? Because that's what a lot of your viewers are arguing with Sean about. That's what a lot of his viewers are. They are saying that, they support the enforcement of those things. I'm fairly certain, I have people in my comment section that makes their opinions that say that they agree with it if I don't agree with it, or if somebody else doesn't agree with it. But in my comments, I don't silence them. I let them speak their mind because I believe in the First Amendment. I believe everybody can share their opinions on my channel because, unlike a frauditor, I'm not going to silence you. I believe in civil dialogue. I believe if we stop talking and we stop having debate, that's when we end up with us fighting each other with violence. And violence will never be the answer to this. Maybe we could bridge the divide and have that dialogue and say, hey, this is my opinion. This is your opinion. Let's see if we can find some common ground. That's what would work. That's what would help. But because your followers may not agree with all of the things you believe in, you want them to leave? You want to call them bootlickers? You want to call them traitors? You want to call them un-American because they don't believe in your version of the Constitution when it's just, black and white of what it says?
Not going to happen. I didn't switch up. I'm not the traitor. You are. And I always lose.
Yes, they're the traitor because
subscribers after videos like this, and that's fine. If you can't be a critical thinker, then that's fine. I mean,
but they are being critical thinkers. They are thinking in a way that doesn't agree with you.
I don't care that illegal immigration's an issue here. Sure, it could be an issue. That's fine. I agree. But again, I'm not going to give up my rights for
Nobody's asking you to.
That's not how this works. At least that's not how it works to me. That's not going to happen. So I posted this. Check this out. I said, if federal officers can enter homes without a judge's warrant, then the Fourth Amendment is dead on paper only. This isn't about immigration anymore. This is about unchecked government power. And history shows us once a right is.
We're going to get into that when he starts talking about him running for office, because I will go over all of that and what the criteria are that he needs to meet to run.
Taken from one group, it never ends there. Our home is supposed to be our last line of defense against tyranny. No warrant means no probable cause, no judge, no accountability. That is not freedom. That is not constitutional. If we, the people, stay silent now, we're consenting to the erosion of every right that protects us. Rights don't disappear overnight. They vanish one exception at a time. That was my post, and this is what I was referencing. Breaking immigration officers are asserting sweeping power to enter homes without a judge's warrant. They are saying that and this has since been confirmed by the administration and Department of Homeland Security, that they can enter homes with an administrative warrant, which is an Article 1 warrant. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I like to read up on things. So I think that's a pretty reasonable stance to take, but apparently it's not. Good. This person says good. We cannot extend our constitutional rights to illegals. So, Sean, how should we proceed to arrest these illegals in your mind? Lawfully. Hopefully, our law enforcement personnel will get it right 100%, but we cannot allow this government takeover that illegals are working toward, period. Okay. If that's your belief, that's fine. But you cannot take away. I won't allow you to. I don't care what you think. You unsubscribe. Call me a defender of criminal, illegal aliens, all you want. I don't give a shit. Really, I don't. I'm not going to allow you. I will fight for my constitutional rights and your constitutional rights, even if you won't. Okay? Because that's how that works. That's how I operate. But they didn't call the Democrats when they violated the Constitution. The whataboutism is crazy. First of all, I did. I was very vocal during COVID, 100% during a pandemic where they were using a pandemic to violate constitutional rights. So that's wrong. But instead of having an argument, you just say, but what about the Democrats? What about Joe Biden? No. Like, most emotional group of people I've ever seen. Fuck around and find out. FAFO. Like, dude, Alex Preddy. Again, if you want to see live streams, I've done live streams. I've made my opinion on all those things very clear. Lies, fake news. You can't just call things fake news. Literally, the Department of Homeland Security confirmed that this was the case. I mean, fake news. They want you to believe that ICE is going door to door entering homes. Not true at all. It is true. They admitted it. The U.S. Constitution does not and never was intended to protect illegal aliens. This is the one I get a lot, right?
Okay. So Sean doesn't like people using the phrase fuck around, find out, or FAFO. Well, that's their freedom of speech. They can use that. That's their opinion. And this is the spin out. He's losing his subscribers. He's losing his followers because they disagree with him. And then he calls them out, calls them a bootlicker. If you may not agree with what I say all the time, there might be something I say where you guys don't agree, but I'm not going to insult you. I'm not. That's stupid. My channel runs on you. Yeah, I put out the videos. I edit the videos. I do the research, but without you watching, I have nothing. And for all of my subscribers, I am not going to do anything to insult them because they take the time to subscribe to my channel, to watch my videos, to become members to my channel. I appreciate all of that. I get super chats. I greatly appreciate it. I get super thanks. I greatly appreciate that. I thank you. If you do it in the comments, I thank you. If you do it on a live or a premiere, I thank you. Because you guys keep this channel going. And I'm not going to insult you if you disagree with me because that just hurts the channel. Sean doesn't care about the followers. He cares about the money. People disagree with him. Some people disagree with what, that statement made. The Constitution isn't meant to protect immigrants or illegal immigrants. Well, like he's going to bring up, yes, there are parts that say it does protect citizens for these rights, and there are some rights that are just general for people in this country. Like due process. Everybody is entitled to due process in this country. We're not just going to, oh, you're not a citizen, so you don't get the right to have a lawyer represent you. You don't get the right to have freedom of speech in this country. That's not true. Okay? Sean's opinion is his opinion, but when somebody disagrees with his opinion, he goes on the tangent.
This is something I get a lot when talking about this. And I want to be clear. You might think that, and I support your position. Your position is that the United States Constitution shouldn't apply. That's really your position. Not that it doesn't, is that it shouldn't apply to illegal aliens. That's your position. And that's a very reasonable. You can have that position all you want. I can argue why that shouldn't be the case. But regardless, that's not the case. We have to live in reality, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot just allow our hatred for illegal invaders and whatever else, or fear of a pandemic or fear of terrorism, to negate our constitutional rights. That's not how this works.
So, because of the mask mandates, is why he's saying that about the pandemic.
Constitutional rights in the Constitution. If you read it,
Sean should remember what happened during 9/11. That was a very dangerous terrorist attack on this country.
You, okay?
That thousands of people lost their lives on.
Again, Constitution says persons, and then it says citizens. The Supreme Court, not Sean Paul Reyes, don't get mad at me. Take it up with your Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says that persons means all persons, whether they're undocumented in our country or not. Again, don't get mad at me. Don't start being racist with me and saying that I'm just scared of getting deported when I'm a proud United States citizen. Like, use your critical thinking. Like, I'm happy that people are subscribing, really, because if you're not on the side of the Constitution, then you are on the other side of what I believe in. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, if you are against the Constitution, if you're against the rule of law, if you are against government checks and balances, again, I believe that if I have to follow a court order and you have to follow a court order, that ICE should have to follow 96 court orders in 1 month. I mean,
okay. And because they didn't, they are being brought to court over it. All right. And they were told in that document that if the director doesn't show up, he could be found in contempt. And if he shows up, he needs to show with a good reason why they didn't follow those orders, or there will be punishment. They could be forced to, have to pay a price to that individuals whose rights were violated. They would may have more oversight. They would probably be under more scrutiny. That's what they want. That's what people want. They want them to be held accountable. They're being held accountable. I mean, this isn't, left or right. This isn't, Democrat, Republican. This isn't independent, libertarian. It's if they're not violating the law and they're not being held accountable, they need to be punished.
It's, again, not even by a liberal activist judge. The proper thing is to be able to appeal it. But again, I believe in the separation of powers. I believe Article 1, Article 2, Article 3. I believe that's how it's supposed to work. I mean, I don't know where you think that I changed up at, that I'm a traitor. I'll be called a traitor so many times. It is insane. It is insane to me. The Constitution. So now that you've been educated, you know that the Constitution does indeed due process. The Fifth Amendment. There's a lot of rights that apply to undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them. I don't care. You have a First Amendment right to call them whatever you want. I'm not going to criticize you for that. I don't care. Long Island audit has been sucked into the left's lies. He will say he isn't Democrat or Republican, but it's clear he has been watching a little more CNN and View lately. And The View, I've never watched The View in my life. Kind of sad, really. Oh, well. Do you see? These people are brainwashed, okay? I mean, I'm not the one that's brainwashed. He says I'm brainwashed, and I've been sucked into the left's lies. These are objective facts. When you're talking about going in and entering a home, whether it's, first of all, you have to know, the whole point of due process and why it applies, in my opinion, on why it applies to illegal aliens is because then the government can just call me or you an illegal alien and deport us without due process. Duh. I mean, they could just go into my home and say, whoops, I thought it was an illegal alien's home. That's not how that works. So again, I do research. I've spoken with attorneys, but I just did a little quick just so we're clear here. A ChatGPT AI, I use it as a tool. Again, I've confirmed this. This is not something that I'm relying on. I've done my own research, but just as so we can see it together. I asked, is an administrative warrant enough? An Article 1 warrant, in other words, an administrative warrant, and this is what the Department of Homeland Security is saying that they can enter our homes with. Is an administrative warrant enough to legally enough to enforce for law enforcement to forcibly enter someone's home? Why or why not? So I said, why or why not? Could be wrong. Short answer, no. An administrative warrant by itself is not enough to forcibly enter someone's home. Here's why. An administrative warrant, like many used by agencies such as U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is not issued by a judge. It is usually signed by a supervisor within the agency and is used for civil enforcement, not criminal prosecution.
Okay. So he's gone over the difference between, the warrants and the court orders. And if ICE are violating those orders, like the document said, the judge wants to speak to the director in court. He can bring counsel, but they want them to answer for this. It's not like they're sweeping it under the rug. It's not like they're getting a slap on the wrist and say, don't do it again. They are going to be held accountable.
It's weird. Civil. I thought these were criminal. Oh, whatever. Again, I'm not defending anybody. I'm really not.
Sounds like you are.
Sounds like you are. Facts and law and, standing up for the Constitution, and you have the opinion that I'm defending somebody is kind of crazy. I'm not defending it. Deport as many as you want. I don't care, but you have to do it lawfully. You have to. And constitutionally. The home is where the U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly said the Fourth Amendment protections are the strongest. Under the Fourth Amendment, warrantless entries to a home is presumptively unreasonable. To forcibly enter a home, law enforcement generally needs one of these: a judicial warrant signed by a judge, consent, or exigent circumstances.
Like a lot of the people that they're going after already have orders for removal.
Let's see.
From the courts,
why would it
which
be
would grant them?
So we can all be on the same. I said, why would it be dangerous to the American people, if at all? Again, totally neutral. If at all, why would it be dangerous, if at all, for an administrative warrant to be enough? Great question, because this is where it gets to the core reason for the Fourth Amendment exists in the first place. If an administrative warrant were enough to forcibly enter homes, it would fundamentally change the balance of power between the government and the people. Here's why that would be dangerous. Your home would no longer be a constitutionally safe zone. Right now, the home is the most protected place under the Fourth Amendment. The barrier is high on purpose. If an agency issued warrants were enough, a government employee, not a judge, could authorize entry into your house. No neutral court review, no real check on mistakes, bias, or...
Okay. But a lot of those are being done with orders of removal from the country because they are here illegally. Yeah, we can say confirmation bias because ChatGPT is biased to what you want it to do. I've used ChatGPT. We've seen how Chili uses ChatGPT. Now we're seeing how Sean uses it, but not, they do have, when they're going after the people and they go to the homes that they're in, a lot of them do have the orders of removal, which are signed off by judges, which would give them the reason to go there, which would give them the reason to get those other orders, and are to go and do what they got to do.
Abuse, that turns your front door into a suggestion, not a constitutional boundary. It removes a neutral judge. It opens the door to a massive scope creep.
Hey, Terry.
Today, it
Good
might
to see
be
you, brother.
immigration enforcement. Tomorrow, tax agencies, and list them. Licensing boards, regulatory agencies, environmental enforcement, code enforcement.
Can somebody drop a link to Jerry's channel
Innocent people
in the
would
side
get caught
chat?
in a dragnet. The wrong address, clerical errors, identity mix-up, outdated
Irons and Auditors is one of the
records.
auditors
It would
I actually
normalize
endorse and
government
support. He's a good
self-authorization.
friend,
The
awesome guy.
founders specifically
Actually did it
rejected
right,
the idea that
unlike
government
Sean.
agents could decide for themselves when to enter homes. That's what the British did with general warrants and writs of assistance. Those abuses are a direct reason the Fourth Amendment was written. Letting administrative warrants justify forced entry would bring back the same problem in modern form. Government deciding by itself when it can break into your house. I mean, it's I don't know why I'm the traitor here. I really don't get it. I don't get it. Let's see. I want to show you guys why more people look at what these people are saying. Look at what you guys are. Some of you. I know a lot of you are patriots and you guys love the Constitution. But if you don't believe in the United States Constitution,
Thank you, Sue Bear.
I've been telling this to people lately that have been very outspoken against me standing up for the Constitution. You don't want to live in a constitutional republic. You don't want to. Just admit it to yourself, okay? You don't want to. You want to live in an authoritarian regime. That's what you want. You don't want a constitutional republic. You don't want a bill of rights. You want an authoritarian regime. You want it to where the president of the United States and the federal government can just do whatever they want, and there's no court to check them. There's no Congress to check them. You want them to do whatever they want. And
no, I don't think anybody is saying that. Okay? I don't think anybody is saying that. What people are saying is they don't agree with your opinion. And if they don't agree with your opinion, they don't want freedom. That's what you're saying. Okay? Nobody is saying that they want an authoritarian regime to come in and strip us of our rights. You want to talk about an authoritarian regime? Look at North Korea. They are only allowed to use approved social media if they are allowed at all. Look at China with the social credit scores, which if you're not in good standing with the government, you lose access to that. Your score goes down. You know, there is a channel I love. The channel's called Count Dankula. It's a huge channel. The guy is from Scotland. He covers all kinds of crazy stories and people. He does these things called Mad Lads. One of them was on Zhu Xiaodong. Zhu Xiaodong is a Chinese MMA fighter who was affected by the social credit score because he spoke out against their beliefs. Okay. You know, we have our Constitution, we have our freedom of speech, we have our Second Amendment rights to defend ourselves against an authoritarian regime. You don't have that in a lot of countries, Sean. And just because these people on your channel or on your Instagram or Facebook don't agree with you, it doesn't mean they want authoritarianism to take over the country. They are just expressing themselves with their First Amendment rights, like people do to me on my channel. I've had people come to my channel and call me a tyrant, call me a bootlegger. Yes, Dankula's still around. I've had people call me a tyrant, cop lover. I'm a cop. I've never been a cop. I've never been in law enforcement, but that's their freedom. That's their freedom of speech. I'm not going to silence it. I might chuckle because I think it's ironic.
And you want that because of the 20 million or 40 million, whatever you guys are saying, illegal immigrants. And to me, that makes you the traitor to our country. I love my country, and that makes you the traitor, not me. I think we're the roles are reversed here. I think you guys aren't really understanding how this is supposed to work and what our read the Federalist Papers, like educate yourself. Don't just say FAFO in all of my videos where I talk about an unarmed man, Alex Preddy, being murdered by ICE agents, and then the government.
Technically, he was armed. He did have a firearm on him.
Is the government?
But that's neither here nor there.
When they murdered him, the government, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said he was a domestic terrorist. Stephen Miller, deputy chief of the President Trump, deputy chief of staff, said he was a would-be assassin looking to massacre law enforcement. Chief Commander Bovino said that he was looking to massacre law enforcement. Come on. You want your government lying to you? That's obvious lies, right? Can we live in the same reality for once where that's an obvious lie? It's obvious that he wasn't looking to massacre law enforcement. Can we agree on that? I mean,
can we agree that you
want your
used his
government to lie to you
memorial
because
as
it
a
makes you
way
feel
to
good
try to
inside
gain
because
sympathy
they're
and
hunting
super
down illegal
chats?
aliens who invaded our country? So because they're doing something you like, you're willing to overlook something that's unlawful and unconstitutional and immoral? I didn't switch up here. Again, I take no allegiance to no president, whether it's Biden, Obama, Trump. I take no allegiance to the president. My allegiance is to our Constitution and the American people.
Is it really?
Law, okay? It's that simple. And speaking of that, I'm thinking about, why not? If you're gonna say I'm getting political when it's not, criticizing ICE and criticizing Border Patrol. If you looked at my video, you will see my constitutional rights were violated by Border Patrol.
They weren't. I went over that in my last live stream on this. They did not violate his rights. They had the right to detain you to verify status as a U.S. citizen. They are allowed to use biometrics. They are allowed to use facial recognition. You were only detained for about 20 to 30 minutes, which is legal. Okay. And you could have just said, I refuse to answer questions, and they would have let you go. Because there's a auditor or a guy who just goes around to the checkpoints and he does that and gets content that way. But this isn't the first time Sean said he was going to run for office. He's talked about running for mayor in Melbourne. He's talked about that in his last video down there. He said, I might just buy a house or move down here so I could run for office. Well, that would be fun if you did.
I'm a United States citizen. I'm not an anchor baby. I'm not, I'm not birthright citizenship. I was born here, but my family has been citizens ever since Puerto Rico. I was born in Port Jefferson, New York, but ever since Puerto Rico was colonized by the United States.
Okay, that's another thing right there. Puerto Rico was not colonized by the U.S., okay? They were asked to become a U.S. territory. They were given the same rights as we have here, but they're also allowed to have their own laws, their own president, their own government, okay? It's not U.S. government, it's their own. If they were colonized, they would be forced to obey only our laws. They would not have their own government. They would have us as a government. Okay? So for you to say that shows ignorance to that. All right? We have a military base there. They use our currency. They have their own government, and they get the protections of our government. And that statement that they were colonized, it's just so stupid. Because if they were colonized, they wouldn't have their own government. They would have a representative from the U.S. as their government.
I've been a citizen since they passed the law, Congress. Not me, but my family has been citizens. You might not like that, but again, that's the law. And then I was born here. And I love my country, and I've educated myself, and I like to think I'm a critical thinker, and I like to think that I don't take sides with anybody. I've been very critical of the Biden administration. I've been very critical, and now I'm critical of the Trump administration. But I'm not going to be quiet. People are like, oh, just stick to doing audits. Stick to First Amendment audits. No. Let me be very clear. No. I will not. I will do First Amendment audits still. But I will always be outspoken just defend the Constitution. If you don't like that, the unsubscribe button's somewhere down here, over here. You can go. No one's forcing you here. I know I'll check my subscribers and they'll go down by the hundreds, and tomorrow they'll go up by the thousands.
Are you sure about that?
There are more patriots than there are bootlickers. I know that's what I've learned. That's what I've learned. But again,
so if they disagree with you, they're a bootlicker.
I'm apparently a traitor. Let's see. This is what I wrote regarding the. If you haven't checked my community posts, right here, go to posts, read them, see if they seem kind of crazy to you. ICE agents chilling threat. When I'm not posting videos or doing live streams like this, I'm posting on my community posts. I'm posting.
Yeah, Terry, that's all he wants. He wants the money. He wants to keep the drama going for the money.
On Instagram, we have.
I mean, look at his thumbnails.
497,000.
They're meant just to draw people in. To see that his rights are being violated.
Look at these. Look at this. It's never been more controversial, and it's because you're not seeing clearly. I promise you. It's because just educate yourself on if the Constitution applies to illegal aliens and why. Why? You might not like it, but why does it? Why does it apply to them? It's an important reason on why. I'm not. It's insane to me. What happened, I went to Minnesota. I just got back from Minnesota. What happened in Minnesota was an absolute tragedy. And then the government lying and trying to gaslight the American people was a disgrace. So, it's insane to me that
that's exactly what he's doing. And it makes me sick too.
Over an American citizen because he was carrying a gun. Well, and then you have the FBI director, Kash Patel, saying, well, you can't bring a gun to a protest. Of course not. What do you mean? What do you like? You guys are just willing to give up your Second Amendment, First Amendment,
in the name. I'm gonna cover that in a second when he gets to that
illegal
part.
invaders. Come on, like you're not a patriot. Then you don't love the Constitution. You want an authoritarian regime. That's what you want, and admit it to yourself.
Nobody wants an authoritarian regime. You keep saying that,
and then at the same time, deep throat the entire boot and say, "Oh well." Well, the ICE agents are under a lot of stress right now, and they're being doxxed. And I mean, cops have been doxxed forever. You don't see regular cops having masks on. I mean,
no. We don't see cops wearing masks like the ICE agents are, but the ICE agents are being doxxed. Their homes are being targeted. Their families are being targeted. That's why they're wearing the masks. I mean, are you wanting their families to be harassed or have violence put upon them because of the employment of that person? That doesn't seem right to me. That just makes it seem like Sean doesn't care about other people. Like he doesn't believe that they have a right to protect their families. Hey, my tiny Chihuahua life. Good to see you.
It's ridiculous. Oh, these guys, they're being really mean to them and they're obstructing. You can protest, but you can't obstruct. You can't impede. Federal impeding is the same thing as obstruction. And I thought we were very clear on this channel. Obstruction is really just contempt of cop, right?
No, it's not.
It could be. It's a contempt of cop. I mean, it's crazy. And this is what I wrote. Look, I write a lot for you guys over here on my post. So if you want to read,
yes, but if you disagree with you Sean,
when the government
you block them, you silence them. Their freedom of speech.
Renee Good were domestic terrorists, or the woman that was filming them is a domestic terrorist. No. By you doing that and you doing what you're doing, you have become the domestic terrorists. You are the enemy to the Constitution. And again, I don't care if you're some old guy named Biden or some old orange dude named Trump or Sleepy Joe or whatever nickname you guys want to give each other. Let's go, Brandon. I don't care.
All right. Let's go, Brandon was not a nickname. That was a fucking chant that people were saying towards Brandon. My God. And this man wants to run for office. This man thinks he's fighting for freedom of speech when he can't handle people's freedom of speech.
If you think I have Trump derangement syndrome, I've been told that a lot. I got Trump derangement syndrome.
No, you got your head up your own ass syndrome. That's the problem you got there.
I'm just
maybe main character syndrome
because of the I'm sad for my country, okay? Because I love my country, and I know I'm a big fan of history. I love to learn about, and one of my favorite quotes is, "Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it." And it seems to me that our constitutional republic is going to fall because
No, it's
there's
not.
no way you can back this sort of criminal behavior. Um,
It's not going to fall.
Domestic terrorists calling us domestic terrorists for
Again,
filming them.
those clips have
And
no
I will always use my
context
voice
of
to
what
speak up.
happened
And
beforehand.
that being said, so I live, I won't tell you exactly where I live, but
Okay. So this is the good part. A congressional district of New York, the first congressional district. It's Long Island. Okay. Suffolk County, Brookhaven, places where he's had issues. Now, people were asking me, can a convicted felon run for office? Yes. A convicted felon can run for office. Now, there is something interesting about that. There have been other people who have ran as convicted felons and who have won. In fact, in the 1920s, there was a presidential candidate that was running. All right, buddy, you have a good one. I hope to see you on the next one. But there was in the 20s a man who ran for president while in prison. Okay. So Sean could run. He could run. You know what? Let me stop sharing screen for a second. Let me do something here, because if Sean does run for office, that means he is a political figure, right? That means he's open to being audited. So if Sean is open to be audited, perhaps I should audit him, right? What do you guys think? Maybe if he does run for office, be it mayor or city council or a congressional seat, what do you think? Is it a little too much right there? Okay, this is a great question. Does it affect his? Well, he may not be able to vote as a convicted felon. However, he would still need to meet the criteria to run for New York. Now, let me bring this up here because I want to make sure I get all the information correct. I'm going to bring this up here. Okay. Open this up. And seeing as I am dressed as Mr. Sean Paul Reyes as NCR audits, I'm going to bring this up here. Now, the question I asked, what are the requirements to run for a congressional seat in New York? Right. Let me see how that, okay. Now, these are the requirements that he has to have. Okay. He has to be at least 25 years old, or at least be 25 by the time he takes office. He has to be a citizen for at least 7 years before taking office. He must reside in that district while he is running. Okay. So he could run. However, he still needs to meet the criterias. He has to meet the requirement numbers of signatures and petitions that are required by the party that he's running with. All right. And he must be subject to so he has to be subject to the criterias. But not only that, he is open he is open to being under more financial scrutiny when it comes to his, fundraising, what he's spending the money on. He's open to more. So let's bring up Sean again. Let me hit play.
I live in this district right here. This little cutout, New York's first congressional district. This is New York's first congressional district. Right here, that little cutout there. And I wonder why it's like so weirdly shaped, but whatever. That's where I live in this district. You don't even need to live in the district. I learned you don't need to live in the district. You know how I learned that? Again, I don't know. I like to learn. Nick LaLota here, this guy, he is currently my representative to Congress, and he does not even live in my district. This is my current representative to Congress. So I plan on taking his job. I mean,
no, you don't. You're not going to take his job.
Close. Maybe 2028 would be a more realistic figure. I don't know. I don't do anything half-assed, so I would do it, as best as I could. I do have my own billboard truck. I know there would be a lot.
I have to do this now. I have to because he said that. Shenanigans.
No.
Shenanigans.
No.
Okay. We're going to call shenanigans on that, Sean, because we know you couldn't do this because you would have to turn down all the money you make from YouTube. You would have to stop running your channel. You would have to, lose those contracts you have with those partners that you have from your sponsors. So, would you really do it? Are you willing to put yourself open to scrutiny? Yes, you can run as a felon. There's no stopping you from running as a felon. However, Sean would not stand a snowball's chance in hell because one, he's going to have to pick a political party to run with. He's going to have to meet their criteria to get the petitions and signatures to get on the ballot. He's going to have to meet all the criteria as to become a U.S. representative.
People from Connecticut, from all over Long Island, even if you don't live in this district, New York City, New Jersey, I know that my fellow patriots would have my back. I would run as an independent, but it wouldn't be easy, but why not? I can't just keep talking about this on YouTube when I could talk about it in Congress and I could be transparent. I'll bring live streaming equipment into the Capitol all day long.
They already have that.
I'll be the most transparent politician you've ever seen.
Are you not aware of C-SPAN?
Party. That's why I wouldn't be part of any party, because my allegiance would never be to Democrats or Republicans. My allegiance will always be to the United States Constitution and the American people. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that people think that, I don't know. This has been something that I've been thinking about. Like, you got a billboard truck. Some people know you. You have.
Okay. So let's go with his logic. He's going to run as an independent. He's not going to be held to any standards of any political party. Okay. But you're going to have to meet the standards of what it requires as an independent to get the petitions and signatures to get on the ballot. All right. So what are you going to do? Are you going to go around and take all this live streaming equipment into Congress, even though we have that in there with C-SPAN? Are you really going to do this? Are you really going to actually put the money where your mouth is and run for office? I highly doubt you would even make 10% of the votes. Oh, More than likely, yeah. I don't know. He's not going to hold any, like he said, he's not going to be accountable to any party. Are you going to be accountable to your constituents? What are you going to do when you become a government employee? Are you going to do exactly what they have done to other auditors? Are you going to be, because you would be subject to being audited. You're a public servant, so you could be recorded in the course of your duties.
You have some people. I've definitely lost a lot of support and subscribers from speaking out against tyranny, but that's okay. I'll take that. You know, I'm a loyal patriot to the Constitution, and I will not allow. And I want to see. Let me check the chat. What is your? I want to see something. I haven't been looking at the chat this whole time.
Okay, I want to ask you guys this legitimately. If he did run and he did win, would you want to see people audit him?
You've attracted bots because, let's see this. You've attracted bots because you're making the difference as opposed to the Constitution are scared. Let's see here. I mean, I hope they're bots. I hope these people that are saying these things are bots. I really do.
And that's right. That's your right to do. You have the right to unsubscribe to them because
true. Thank you, Brittany.
If you don't agree with me,
if I didn't see you,
I'm not going to say you have to leave my channel.
Appreciate
You're welcome to express your opinion.
Let's see here.
And Sean doesn't allow that. Sean, if you disagree with him, he calls you a bootlicker. You support tyranny, which may not be true. You might just disagree with him on that one view.
What I need to get real about. You know, again, what is your argument? What have I said over the last 42 minutes? What is your argument? What is your counter argument? Are we just going to keep on like calling people names?
And I understand, but I'm just saying, like you said, you've unsubscribed from him because the way he's treating his subscribers.
You know, the
Secretary of War, you're 100% right. He treats them. Now you guys he doesn't treat them with the respect that he should.
You know, it's like a little term you guys use. I don't get it. It's FAFO.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that. Because
that all you people who are supporting tyranny and violation.
If I don't have my subscribers, I don't have a channel.
You
guys make my channel,
and you're gonna find out. That's what I think.
That's why I treat all of you with respect. That's why I respect everybody's opinion.
Our rights are not dependent on anyone's opinion.
Sean doesn't really do that.
Sean Paul, keep fighting for the Constitution. I will, my friend. I will. You have drunken the Kool-Aid. What Kool-Aid? What Kool-Aid, dude? What Kool-Aid? I mean, I need the Kool-Aid. I want to know what Kool-Aid you're drinking, dude. That's what I want to know. How much are they paying you? Who? I'm losing subscribers over this.
You're saying that you're.
I promise you that. My principles are not for sale. I promise you that.
Okay, so then how are you going to raise money?
I'm for
a campaign. Because it would take millions to run.
This is not a fraud channel. I'm not some like detective. Like, what do you mean? Oh man. Any way to support Sean outside of YouTube? All my social medias are in the about section of my phone, so I appreciate it. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's all you people say is like, you don't care about fraud in Minnesota. Like, what? Okay, sure. I mean, okay. Like, it's wild to me. It's wild. Let me see. I'm just gonna be live for a little more. It's a few more seconds. Look, I normally get.
I greatly appreciate that. I try to bring you guys
on
the best videos I can. I try to bring you guys the best information I can.
So make sure you hit the like button.
I appreciate all my subscribers, all my viewers.
Hit that like button, share this video any way you can.
Because you guys make my channel.
Let's see. Hold on. Somebody said something about activist judges. Speak about the fraud in Minneapolis. Dude, what don't you understand? You want me to speak about daycare fraud? Like, what is wrong with you people? That's not what I talk about. I don't talk about children being massacred in schools for school shootings either. People are like, oh, you don't talk about Charlie Kirk. I don't talk about tragedies that don't involve the government. What is so hard for you to understand that? What is so...
Okay. This is a very valid thing he brought up here, and I want to talk about it because since December of last year, maybe late November of last year, he's been going to Melbourne, Florida over the mayor working with Habitat for Humanity and getting a $10,000 payment for a roofing contract that he's saying is fraud. He's saying that's a kickback. But yet, when people are asking him to talk about the daycare fraud that those daycares were getting government funds for, but yet he won't talk about that. He says that's not involving the government. When they are telling the government that they need subsidized for fraudulent activities, wouldn't that be the exact equivalent to what the mayor allegedly did in Melbourne? Am I confused on something? Because if you're willing to go after the mayor in Melbourne, Florida, because the mayor, and you showed us this text conversation saying that the person originally who was going to do the roofing job did not have the manpower and was not insured at the time. So his company would do it and did the work and was paid for doing the work. That is fraud. That's a kickback. He embezzled money. When they have proven with a lot of those daycare frauds in Minneapolis and Minnesota that there was fraud taking place, and they're being investigated by the state, but you won't do anything about it. You won't go call them out. You won't call out those politicians, but you'll go down to the city council meeting in Melbourne, Florida, and call the mayor, call the mayor out and say, oh, he's embezzling money. Accuse a woman of being his mistress. When people were there the first time you went down there and were trying to get a street named after Charlie Kirk, and you were holding up them from getting in to express their First Amendment rights, to redress their government over a concern that they wanted, you made fun of them. You said they weren't real Americans, that they don't care about the freedom of speech. They don't care about the First Amendment. I believe it is you who does not care about the First Amendment unless it's your First Amendment rights. The hell with everybody else's.
Hard. I cover and speak about things that involve the Constitution, government misconduct, specifically with law enforcement. There's a million things I don't talk about. That is not like someone like, gotcha, he didn't talk about fraud by daycares. It's weird, dude. You guys are weird. I'm glad you guys are freaking. It's weird. It's weird, dude.
It's weird. It's so weird.
Strange. What about the daycare fraud? Like what? Okay, great. I prosecute it. I don't care. What does it matter? I'm not protecting anybody. The audio on the clips wasn't working. I'm sorry about that, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do? I'm not gonna fix it. You could go on my Instagram and you can watch the clips for yourself, where they say that I'll erase your voice if you raise your voice, calling people domestic terrorists. You could see all the videos. You can go check out Facebook. You can check out my YouTube posts. Do your own research. This is what I plan to represent soon. You could do your own research on Patrick Schiltz, the liberal activist judge appointed by George Bush, and a DEI judge, apparently. Whatever you guys want to say, dude. Like, I don't care. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. You guys are not. I'm so over it. I'm so over it. The anti-ice Kool-Aid. Yeah, okay. Sure. You guys are all paid. And then I went to a protest in Minneapolis. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. I went to a protest in Minneapolis. Like, those are all paid protesters. Like, there was like 10,000 people there. Like, that's a lot of money to pay.
And you only asked what, 4 or 5 people?
No matter the issue, there is nothing more American than protesting your government, no matter what you.
That I'll
think
agree with.
about
I'll
it.
agree
Like,
with that you should protest the government if there's something that you
some
need to
people are
address.
brainwashed. It's scary. Yeah, that is true. I mean, I'm seeing it firsthand, and I'm glad. It's like I don't want people here. I want everybody here, really. I mean, because I want to try and I want you to let's come on the channel. Maybe I'll start doing debates with people who disagree with what I'm saying. Come on the channel. Debate
Like
me
you
about it.
came
I
to
did
my
it on
comment
TikTok.
section and
I'm gonna
insulted
go
my
live on
viewers and
TikTok
my
later,
subscribers
but
who disagreed with you.
It's insane.
I
We need
actually
a third string party. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna run as a Democrat. I mean, excuse me, a independent. Oh God, here we go.
okay. When he came to my comment section, I directly commented to him, asking him to come onto my channel. I asked him to, because if he's going to come to my comment section and he's going to insult my subscribers, I want him to come on here, and I would have a third party to make sure it would be a fair and neutral interview and discussion, maybe a debate. That way he couldn't say I'm ganging up on him, but he never responded. If he does do one of those debates, I would probably try to get on there if he would, and I would love to call him out. Highway Store, that's true. He's been on several of Further Trolls debates, and every time he's been on there, he rage quits within 30 minutes. Because I would love to ask him a lot of questions. One thing I would definitely want to ask him is what I ask every frauditor I've ever had a chance to talk to on a debate. Are you a journalist? And if they say yes, do you follow the standards and ethics of journalism? And do you know the 5 ethics of journalism? I highly doubt he does, because I know he doesn't do it.
I'm gonna run as an independent for New York's first congressional district, and I'm gonna, 2028. I'm thinking about it. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do it for sure. I'm thinking about it. Why not? Why not?
If he runs, I would audit him.
Let's
I would go and do a First
see.
Amendment audit on him, just to give him a taste of his own medicine. And see how he likes having
Thank you. I appreciate
a
that,
camera
Adam.
shoved in his face and all of his stuff questioned and his past brought up.
What about Biden? I'll try to read all the comments. You guys are like, this is, even though there's not that many people here as normal, I'm trying to it's a lot of people are commenting. Thanks, Cool Vibes, for the super chat.
Well, a lot of people are not coming to your channel anymore because the way you're talking to them.
You have to understand. Let's see. Let's read this one. You have to understand that enforcement will look harsh, but that does not make it evil. That is what restoring order looks like after years of surrender. All right, let me read this again. You have to understand that enforcement will look harsh, but that does not make it evil. That is what restoring order looks like after years of surrender. Well,
I would do that.
What I'll say to that is,
I would love to see how he would react. I mean, what if I brought up?
It sounds like
if he was at a town hall as a congressman.
It's okay.
And I go to one of those and audit him.
There's going to be some citizens dying, but it's okay, Sean. It's okay. We're going to have some constitutional rights violations here.
And I brought up his past as
lie to us.
We're for the second degree robbery,
dying,
armed robbery.
These things are going to happen.
How would he react? Would he have me kicked out?
We're going to violate.
Would he have me removed?
We're going to do these things, but it's okay, Sean.
Would he try to silence my First Amendment right to address?
In order for our
public official
to be great again after our surrender, right? I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Weird. I don't know. Weird. Pick your battle, Sean. This is my battle, dude. Pick your battle, Sean. This is my battle, Brian. What don't you understand? This is my battle. I'll die on this battle. You have no. I will go to 0 subscribers.
No, you won't.
I will always resist tyranny. I will always be pro-Constitution. I don't care what you think, man. I don't care.
No, you do care. That's why you're
Yeah,
reacting the way you are.
Liberal activist judge appointed by George Bush. It's just you keep saying that. You could keep saying like, oh, he was a liberal judge and blah blah blah. But I mean, it's just not true. I never knew how many people watch my channel that literally deep throat the boot of tyranny. I never knew. It's been very eye opening and sad to me.
Because they disagree with you, they deep throat the boot of tyranny. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense the way you
LA
view
is for the
people.
Constitution, not one man. You got that right. Sean, you would rock it on in Jubilee. Yeah, I would do it. I've seen that before.
Oh, he's block gold.
This might be a smart move. Run as a Democrat, then go independent. Because I might not have a shot as an independent. You know, I mean, I might not have a shot. Maybe that's what I'll do. Run as a Democrat and then switch it up. Like immediately be like, nope.
Okay, and then you'd get kicked out. You wouldn't make it as a Democrat.
Listen, I don't see it. Somebody said stop feeding the trolls. Listen, I don't see it as feeding the trolls. I'm trying to educate people. I'm trying to bring them over to the side of freedom, not left or right. I'm trying to bring them onto the side of freedom.
But they are on the side of freedom when they disagree with you. But you don't like them disagreeing with you. If somebody disagrees with me in my comment section, I don't block them. I don't silence their freedom of speech. There have been tons of people who've come to my comment section, called me a tyrant, called me a communist, said I hate America, whatever. But I leave those comments up. I don't block them. I don't hide them. I don't block people in my side chat when they disagree. But you insult them because they disagree with you. You hide comments that disagree with your opinion. How is that being about the First Amendment? And I exercise my First Amendment rights all the time. When I leave my house, I go for a walk. I have my headphones on. I'll sing a song. Maybe it has some swears in it. And that's me exercising my freedom of speech. I might wear a shirt that somebody might not like because it has a political statement on it, or it has a design that somebody doesn't like, or it might represent a band. Dim, you missed the fact that Sean announced that he was going to run for Congress. He wants to run for Congress in 2028 for the first congressional seat in New York.
And not being a bootlicker.
But wouldn't he be a bootlicker?
Sean should keep a tally of all the bootlickers who unsubscribe.
Wouldn't he become the thing he hates? I mean, he says he hates.
Let's see if we can
distrust the government.
Hold on, let's see how many subscribers I've lost. Let's see if I can look it up. Not that it matters to me. It really doesn't. It really doesn't.
Well, there's a way we could actually. Hold on. Let me check here. Let me see here.
Read the people. I don't want to be this too long. I've been called a communist. Like, do you know how crazy this is? Again, if you guys want to follow my Instagram, let's get up to 320,000. Follow Facebook. We're almost at 500,000. TikTok. I do TikTok lives a lot. And of course, we're on Facebook, on YouTube. You know, I'm going to put myself back on screen. Whew. Let's see. I've been called a communist. I've been called a criminal, illegal lover. Like, I've been called so many things. Sean's scared he's going to get deported. Like I'm not a citizen. It's crazy. Like, I will never, ever be on your side, dude. I've had people, hold on. Let me see if I can pull up a direct message. This guy was literally like sad. He was like, let me see if I can read it. Like, I've been getting Instagram DMs. This guy's like, Sean, what are you doing? Your entire base is MAGA. What the hell, man? I can't comprehend what you're doing. I'm upset about all this betraying. Like they're so emotional, dude. Like these people
Shawnee.
don't listen to these statist Nazis. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, oh, Sean's the communist, right? I'm the communist. Long Island is falling apart.
I mean, you're going to have some ads to deal with if you do run. Let's say you do get on the ballot.
I would say passionate. Yeah.
Your past is going to be brought up there.
Let's see what this one
all
says.
the wrongdoings, all your arrests.
Deported more illegals and spent a lot less doing it. Trump just has to show that he can make himself feel like a man, just like his followers. I mean, listen, facts don't care about your feelings. Obama did deport more people, but he did it in a different way. I mean, it's fine.
I wonder how Sean would feel if his political rivals,
unlike some of you,
would bring up his past.
To a Biden or Obama, or I'm not loyal to no man. I'm loyal to the Constitution.
I don't believe you. I believe you're disingenuous about that. Because you're going to be taking lobbyist money.
I don't know if I can see everybody else's super chats. Sean, do you have an opinion on Don Lemon's arrest? I think he's going to be found innocent. Yeah. I mean, like if I walked into a church and followed a mob, like, again, I don't know his true intentions. I don't know Don Lemon. I don't know his true intentions, but I think it's a losing case. But I'm not a lawyer. So again, I don't know. But that's what a judge said. My kiddo says, hi, how are you? Sean, where's the Antifa flag? What? You guys are just pulling us like. I want to run for District 1 of Congressional New York. If you guys live in this area right here, let me know. Or if you live near it, you can help me go door to door. Let me know.
Yeah, I don't think you would make the best congressman.
I live in this area here, and I would like to represent the district, even though I can run for any district, really. I'm just trying to get into Congress because I want to pass, I want to amend the 1983 lawsuit where it applies to federal agents because, excuse me, right now, 1983 claims do not apply to the federal government or federal agents. So you can't sue them unless you're under a Bivens action, which is very limited, and the courts have been hesitant to extend the context there. But I appreciate the super chats, guys. I'm using a different platform.
I mean,
thank you,
sister.
Paul,
I love you too.
That.
But
I didn't see it.
I don't think he understands the scrutiny that he would be under as a political candidate.
I'm not a
I think he would.
So I don't know.
He would have a massive burnout.
It's just weird to me that you wouldn't support the Constitution, no matter the cost, no matter what problem this country is facing.
Okay, that happened on his end. He kicked himself out.
Lost connection there. Let's see. I appreciate all the super chats, guys. Let's see. Independent all the way. Yeah, I want to run as an independent, but
why not run as a libertarian?
I want to find like a reasonable person. We have laws in America. Sounds like most in here doesn't seem to understand. If you are here illegally, you are breaking the law. Get over it. ICE has a job to do. Too many flakes are butthurt. Dude, you don't have a name. User, whatever. Listen, man, I don't know what you're watching. I don't have a problem with ICE deporting people who are here illegally. That's not.
You said you did. That's not. You said you were going to go to the ICE facility, but you didn't do it until like late at night before you had to leave.
Do the job, but do it lawfully and do it constitutionally, and don't lie about it and don't murder citizens. Like, two things can be true at the same time. Just so you guys are aware. Sean for Congress, Sean for Senate, Sean. And by the way, none of your donations I'm using for Congress. I have to hire like a campaign attorney. I have to hire like a campaign manager. There'll be a time for donations for Congress, and I hope you guys.
Hey, Anthony, good to see you, mate. We're almost done here.
I mean, this is not it. This is not the time. 2028.
Somebody is playing the trumpet, and I love it. You would think he would have a noise canceling mic. Some noise reduction for that.
Let's see.
Yes,
I'm an
Anthony,
ideologue.
he wants to
Sean, you're
run
beginning
for
to sound like an
congressional
ideologue.
seat
Are
number
you so afraid
1.
of being called a bootlicker you cannot support the lawful orders of government? And no, dude, what don't you understand? Let's go back. Let's go full circle. Let's go back. ICE has violated 96. Look, these, and the judge even put the cases here. This liberal activist, judge appointed by George Bush, a DEI judge. That's all you guys could say. Anyway, these are all the cases that ICE has violated this month, last month. In January, these are all the cases in which court orders were violated. So,
I mean,
you want to be for enforcing the
that
law
would
on
be
immigration,
hilarious.
but they do have an obligation to follow court orders, and that's 96 court orders in a month. That's a lot. I believe this judge said that that's more than any agency since in their inception. So you can't be like
Yes, he
pro-law
can run
and then
as
only
a
the law that's
convicted felon.
convenient to you, right? That's not how
But
that's supposed to work.
he would be open to
But
a lot
whatever.
more
It
scrutiny
is
when
what
it
it is.
comes to the
We're
financial
going on 1 hour.
aspects.
That's a long stream.
He would have to.
but it is what it is.
He would have to show
I hope you
where
guys do your own
every cent
research,
is being
get
spent.
educated.
And if
I'm certainly
one
no
penny
expert.
is out of
Don't trust
place,
anything I say. Just
he could be
all
subject
I
to
can tell you
campaign
is
fraud
do your own
investigations.
research. I will never tell you to follow me blindly. Do your own research. Figure it out yourself. I don't know. That's basically it. But anyways, guys, I love you guys. I appreciate all the support. I will always be a patriot to the Constitution. I will always resist tyranny and support the United States Constitution, no matter if it's popular or not. This is not a popularity contest. This actually means something.
Yes, it would be a popularity contest to win an election.
Because they're scared to lose followers.
Like,
I'm not. You can leave. And I'll feel good about it because I stood up for what I believe in. I stood up for my Constitution, and I always stand up for my Constitution. So anyways, love you guys. As always, stay safe. God bless. I'll see you in the next one. Long Island Audit. Hey.
Okay, so that was LIA announcing him running for New York Congressional District 1 in 2028. And if he does run, and he wins, we may see this. We may see me audit him. Yeah, Anthony, I'll send you a link. But who would love to see me audit him? Who would love to see Mr. Sean Paul Reyes get audited by me? Who would love to see him up? Speak of the devil.
Hey, how is everyone?
If you guys are not aware, this is Mr. Anthony Caruso, who has not been porn bombing news channels.
No, I can guarantee that. Although the ABC would have something to say about that at the moment. I'm talking about the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, not the American one.
But what is your insight on this of Mr. Long Island Audits running for congressional seat in District 1?
Oh, New York 1. This is going to be fascinating. So for those who don't know, one of the things I do over in Australia is I'm an amateur psephologist. For those who don't know what that is, that means I do political election analysis for a couple of local publications. So I've been looking a little bit into New York 1, and this is going to be fascinating to see how he goes with it. So what is new? He was showing the map of New York, of New York 1. It's at the very tip of Long Island itself. Would you like to start off by understanding the demographics?
I would. What are the demographics there? What would he be looking at when it comes to his constituents?
The ethnicity of the seat at the moment is 72% white, 15% approximately speaking, 15% Hispanic, 5% Asian, 4.3% Black American, 2.7 adds to two or more other races. So it's predominantly a white seat.
Okay.
In terms of the election results from 2008 to now, it was a swing seat for a long time, but some of the redistricting that occurred, especially in 2020, some of the redistricting that occurred made the seat better for the Republicans, and then the further redistricting sort of brought it back. So it's a genuine swing seat. The current representative is Nick LaLota, who lives in Amityville. Now, as part of the process that needs to go through, he's obviously going to need to win a couple of he'll need to win a couple of primaries to show that he is the best person to in terms of running, unless he's planning on running as an independent. If he tries to run as an independent, he will get his ass handed to him.
So what is the history for independents who've run for that district, if you have that information?
I have that in here. The last time a third party or an independent candidate ran for this seat was all the way back in 2002, when the Green Party ran Lorna Salzman up against Tim Bishop, who was the incumbent at the time. Now, Tim Bishop won the seat by only 2,700 votes out of 167,000 votes. So that's a pretty narrow margin.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, there has not been a third-party candidate that has run in the seat.
So if he runs as an independent, his odds of winning are extremely low.
Oh, his odds are, I can tell you what his odds are going to be of winning. It's going to be 0 on Buckley's.
Ooh, that's pretty low.
That's pretty low indeed. Now, when I go through, his only chance is if he decides to run for one of the major parties.
Now,
I
didn't mean to cut you off, but if he did have to run with one of the major parties, as a Republican or a Democrat, could his past be a hindrance for that?
Oh, 100%. Because that will be brought out during the primary process before they even get to the ballot box. Now, in terms of seeing who is going to be up against, obviously the Democratic Party at the last primaries, John Avlon won that primary comfortably. For the Republicans, Nick LaLota ended up was pre-selected unopposed. Oh, I think David B might be right. Hang on. Let me double check something on that, because no. So I think I saw the comment there from David B. No, he didn't. George Santos did not run in New York 1. He ran New York 3. Different seat. But yeah, I would probably say equal level of greaseballiness between the two.
And then again, Hunter and why brought this up. Mark Stout revealed when Reyes was on a panel with Florida Troll, he was convicted of assault. Sean hid that serious arrest like his armed robbery arrest. Again, that's something that's going to affect him, because let's be honest.
He's running for the toilet.
Well, yeah, he's running for the toilet, but Victoria, Sean wants to run for congressional seat number 1 in District 1 in 2028.
which is basically, for the benefit of anyone who joined in late, that is basically the tip of the very most westerly point of Long Island.
Now, his odds of winning as independent on best end is like 1%.
That's being generous.
That's why I said on the very best end, 1%.
Moist.
You're gonna get us in trouble with her.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
But
yes,
but his past would be a hindrance, not to mention all of his actions as a auditor. I mean, the going to pay court fines in pennies. That might get some voters not wanting to vote for him.
Given his political standing in terms of what he claims he's doing at the moment, it's more likely he'd run for the Republican Party than he would the Democratic Party, and he would try to align himself as basically a Trumpist. But I could see if the last time that there was a contested primary for the Republican Party was in 2022, when Nick LaLalta won with 47% of the vote, and the rest of the votes was basically split between Michelle Bond and Anthony Figueroa. So you have to take into consideration as well, he's got to raise money for these campaigns. And to give you a bit of an idea, how much money, in terms of the money that was brought in so that they could run these campaigns, Nick LaLalta had raised for the campaign about $2.5 million.
Okay.
There is no way he's raising $2.5 million.
Unless he gets money from PACs or, lobbyists, which would really show who would want to give him money and whose money he would be willing to take. And all of that would be subject to being FOIA requested.
Exactly.
So Sean is essentially opening himself up to being under the tightest microscope. To being on.
Now, his alternative would be running in districts 2, 3, and 4 as an alternative. District 2 is also a Republican seat, although a lot safer than District 1. If we go to District 3, that's a tight seat. It's a tight-ish seat, but that was won by the Democratic Party. And then District 4, I don't think he's getting District 4. Yeah, similar thing. So that Long Island stretch, it does have a few tight seats, but there is millions of dollars being spent on these campaigns. He will not be able to get the money for it. Good question.
Well, apparently they've severed ties, so not a whole lot. But the main thing is, hypothetically, if he was to win, how would he react to being audited?
Ooh, good question.
Because I honestly think if he saw this doing the exact same thing he has done at a town hall meeting, what would he do? What would he do if I started, "What's up, guys? It's me, NCR Audits, here back again with another one to audit the tyrant that is Sean Paul Reyes, the congressional representative of Long Island District 1.
Could we get MJF to chokeslam him?
Maybe.
I reckon MJF would. I reckon. I reckon Sean Paul would probably have a childlike panic attack and pull the fire alarm lever.
My thing is, I honestly think if I was to address him, if he was to win, that's the hypothetical. If he was to win, and I went to audit him, and I started asking him at like a town hall or at a press conference about his past and his actions, would he kick me out? Would he try to silence my freedom of speech?
I'm not sure. Oh, we got something for you, NCR. Look at this from Parsons.
Thank you for the $5 super chat. Could we get News Now Voodoo to audit Congressman LIA? I think we could. I think we really could.
I'm gonna
about it.
A good question from Hunter. I'll tell you what. I mean, I would love to see Long Island come up here if he's got the fucking balls for it.
I've made the direct message to him on the comments when he came in there.
Yeah,
I told him I would have a third party to make sure it was a fair debate. If we have a debate, I would make sure he wouldn't be ganged up on or jumped on, because I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about why does he always need to do these GoFundMes when he makes enough money from his channels? He has 2 channels that are monetized that have tons of views. That gets almost hundreds of thousands of views on all of his videos and his lives. Is he an actual journalist? Does he follow the ethics of journalism? And why did he feel he had the need to come insult my subscribers for expressing their opinions? Hey, Grammar School, it's good to see you, buddy.
Oh, you absolute legend, Grammar School. And as for the bookie worm, yes, you're right. He's not a journalist. He's a very naughty boy.
I mean, he would have to step away from YouTube. He would
unless what he decides to do is run his entire campaign through YouTube. But because imagine what he's going to do with that, then he will use that. He will basically, I could see what he's going to do. He could potentially I could see him using campaign funds to pay for his entire thing on YouTube. So he live streams himself everywhere using campaign funds for him to be on YouTube. I could see him doing that. And that would be a lot of fun to watch what happens next.
Well, he couldn't pay himself, because then that would be considered campaign embezzlement, wouldn't it? A misappropriation of campaign funds?
Unless he does it through a super PAC.
That is true.
Which, that is now basically the norm. A lot of people running campaigns, especially first-time campaigns, are basically paying for everything by using super PACs in the US as a way to get around campaign embezzlement. If basically you can, from what we've seen in terms of certain behavior, you can use it for anything. You can even use it to pay off porn stars that you've had affairs with. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, I was in high school and I was running for class representative. It was a different time. I broke you, didn't I?
Oh, well played, sir. Well played.
I have to do this now.
That's odd. I have this strange sense of accomplishment and the weirdest boner.
I broke you, Anthony.
God, that is amazing. Well played. Well played.
But that right there alone with the whole, how's he going to get the money? How's he actually going to run? What would he actually do?
What party? Well, we're still trying to figure that out myself.
Now, he said he would run as an independent,
Yeah.
but then he said his best option would be to run as a Democrat and then switch to independent once he's been elected.
Won't happen. Not while the current trend is happening on that side of Long Island. His best bet would not be to run in District 1 or 2. It would actually be to run in District 3 or 4.
Well, according to the guidelines, he might have to move there.
Yep.
Or live there for 7 years.
Yep.
Before he could run.
Yeah. Which end of, if I can end, how far up Long Island is he?
I believe he's in Staten Island. I'm not 100%, but I believe he lives. I know he lives in District 1. He's admitted that, yeah, he lives in that district. I want to say exactly where, but he pointed like towards the center of the district. So I'm thinking that's where Staten Island is.
Staten Island? No, Staten Island is. I don't think he'd be in Staten Island. If he's in Staten Island, he's even beyond Brooklyn. Like he's almost New Jersey.
Oh no, wait. Victoria says he lives in Suffolk County, which is in District 1. Okay, so he's there.
Suffolk County is basically District 1, but he does have the option of running in District 2. So Suffolk County also has it also covers District 2. So it is possible he could run for District 2 as an alternative.
Okay, I apologize for saying that he lives in Staten Island. I don't follow the man to the extent of knowing what city he lives in.
But yeah, this is useful for us because the reason why I say that is because it gives us a little bit of an idea about what alternative pathways he could have with it. So if I then go look at District 2 election results that he's had throughout his entire time. So if I can bring this up.
Grammar school, right here, right now. I'm going to throw my name into the hat as well.
I'm just going to throw my hat in general.
That's a paddling.
Yeah, I know. So the last time, looking through it, in terms of the election results and who's run as what, there was a third-party candidate that ran in District 2 in 2020, which was Harry Berger, as a Greens candidate. Before then, the last third party was a guy named Anthony Tolder who ran for the Constitution Party back in 2010. Generally, what's been happening is that the Democratic and the Republican candidate basically been piggybacking other parties to sit on the same tickets as well to expand and congregate the results for himself. But that seat has basically been a fairly safe Republican seat since 2012. Before that, it was solidly Democratic.
You know what? I just had a crazy idea.
Yep.
I know the perfect person to run against Sean.
Who's that?
The man, the myth, the sexual Tyrannosaurus himself, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Oh, dear God. Actually, you know who we could get to order Sean Paul? Do I have to say his name 3 times and he'll appear? Jason Gutterman. Jason Gutterman.
Don't you say that. Don't you say that name. If you do, you deal with that asshole, not me.
Jason Gutterman.
All right, now if he shows up, you have to deal with him.
Guilty. Guilty is charged.
Oh,
God.
wow. Just wow.
That is wild. Is he gonna? It'll be amazing if he George Santos's his way into Congress.
If he does, I'm gonna have to go and audit him. Damn you, David.
See what I've started? Could you imagine doing Joe Hendry's theme to Jason Gutterman?
I believe in Joe Hendry. Oh my God. Like back before he got signed back to the WWE, when he was doing all the different musical parodies.
Yeah.
He came in like a gutter ball.
He's campaigning like he's got a man. Oh, that'll be hilarious. Alrighty. Well, there's my two pieces on it, and it just gives you a little bit of context as to how possible it actually is.
Oh, thank you, Anthony, for joining me and giving us this context. No, we're not doing that, David. No, bad, David.
Well, if you want him to stop talking like he's winning, you're gonna have to come up and discipline NCR then. Sorry, I had to do that.
You cheeky bastard.
I know.
I want to thank Anthony for coming up here. We're going to actually end it here. If you guys want to see me again, I will be on Really Cool News tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Big Jim Finch. Where they will be discussing the news out of the auditing world and drunk girl videos. Good time for all.
Indeed. And don't forget, everyone, to drop your Big Jim Finch whenever you're here or over there, for that matter.
We will be back Sunday, me and Anthony, for the next episode of the Craptown Florida Man Power Ranking podcast, where we will bring you the craziest shenanigans from the Shit Towns of Australia Facebook page and the top 10 craziest stories provided to us from the Florida Man subreddit or by our MVP, Mrs. Tom.
She's doing so well with that. It's almost like we're going to have to start a Hall of Fame, and she's going to be the first inductee for it. Watch this space.
I know. Then we got to make a trophy, and then I got to talk to Reg and Dwayne about building us another extension to the studio. And
I'm sure we could use the leftovers of the ballroom that got knocked down at the White House.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Dwayne did say he knows a guy who can get us some copper.
All right, that's it. I'm out.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all had a great time, and we will see you next time.